What's happening? All right, since these days, zombies is all the rage. You know what I'm saying, on the internet and on in movies and in culture, basically Hollywood and all that. I mean, it's even in shoot. It's I refer to everything as the zombie apocalypse a lot of the time myself because it's a very real possibility these days. But let's talk about, where does the real zombies come from? The real vampires, the real werewolves. Well, basically, there has always been, throughout all society, cannibals. And a lot of people that come up missing are really just been cannibalized because, for one, it's got voodoo, sex magic, uh, uh, it's got sex magic, attachments and abilities. You know what I'm saying? And just magic in general, Satanism, hardcore satanic magic, because it's one of the highest levels of depravity in which a person can go. But also, in times like the Great Depression, there's a subculture of cannibalization. And it's just people get a bloodlust. You know what I'm saying? It's like a person who kills, they become a serial killer because they realize they can get away from it, get away with it, and they get off on it. So they keep doing it. Uh, because they develop a bloodlust. You know what I'm saying? And this is a form of cannibalism. I mean, just listen. Oppression is a form of cannibalism because you're cannibalizing someone's energy. It's like you're making one person a slave while you get to sit back and manage the slaves. And in a way, you're cannibalizing because you're taking people's life force and you're consuming it and stealing it from another. That's just one form. You know what I'm saying? But actually eating people, because I mean, if you want to hear the best testimony in our time of this, you got General Butt Naked, and this is a Liberian or something warlord guy who was like followed this Canaanite religion, and he got instructed by demons in a pit in the earth for like 15 days or something, and it taught him how to become invincible by cannibalizing young boys, basically. So let him tell you. I think it was on the internet, but his name was General Butt Naked, and that's his code name. And he's a Christian now. And it was funny when I watched the video. I seen in the comments it said, a guy says, "Man, dude, that's real talk. What he's talking about. That's what I mean. Look, what's the New World Order's oath? It says no one only them that will kill will get in. You know what I'm saying? So, this is the same ritual. Just murder is cannibalizing people as well. If you murder someone to take their goods or to take their land or just to take their life, it's still a form of cannibalizing. But back to eating now. There's a Talmudic practice of where they stab a baby in the brain and hang it upside down and let the blood, they bloodlet and catch the blood, and then they make bread out of it and they eat it. Supposedly, that's one thing that I've heard. There's one form of cannibalizing. The Druids and the Celts used to cannibalize people because they found bone so they were eating people's bone marrow. So, and I'm sure there's always the cannibals down in South America that they tribes that live so fierce develop fierce customs because the fear that it generates in the enemy would be a rush, would be a kick, as well as, not to mention, you're partaking someone's life force. It's the life is in the blood. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I think, listen, when people eat people, like when people are stranded up in the mountains, like that movie where they got trapped in the soccer players, you know what I'm saying? Those situations, I'm not sure, man. I mean, how that sits in a spiritual sense, but we got, my grandpa said in Vietnam that he was in this mountain base, and there was these basic tribesmen that lived out in the bush, and they were kind of like they were rolling with the Green Berets. And my grandpa said he was stationed up there, where they'd shoot mortars down on different locations from this spot. And he said that when he said the VC, that's the North Viet Cong, he says every one of them guys was trained for 7 years straight before they even got into war. But he said these hardcore dedicated dudes would see these tribesmen in loincloths, he said, and they would run. They drop their guns and run. He said because these people would supposedly cut them open and eat their liver, and all the Asians were very superstitious about that. They didn't want to, basically be like trapped, becoming a prisoner of these cannibals. So this is another practice. There's another part of it. You got that. There's a movie called Borderlands, and it's about a drug magician, and they basically cut people up and put their body in pots. You know what I'm saying? That's a form of cannibalism as well. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you kill for the purpose of using in uh these types of rituals, it's still kind of cannibalistic, zombie-ish, ghoulish, vampirist. You know what I'm saying? So you also got the bafflement using heads, severed heads. Basically, back in the day, the doctors would take electrical currents and put them on decapitated heads, and the head would make all these crazy facial expressions. This is where Mary Shelley got her Frankenstein ideas from. So this is more kind of cannibalistic types of undertonage. So we got that reference.